Hello, guys. This is Avcoor, and upon a request from one of the people on YouTube, they want to ask me about 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, and the setups for those specific PvP modes. I will say some characters work better than others for certain PvP modes. And I also say there's like a couple of characters that work in all of them. But let's get started with 1v1. I think 1v1 is pretty popular because you can get rewards from it. So we'll talk about 1v1, which is ranked. And ranked PvP, I'm suffering because of my connection. I should be higher than this, but I dropped like into the yellow a lot, and so I got screwed. But as far as that goes, um, there's kind of like many teams that work. If you look at my team, it's kind of unorthodox. Um, Blaine is not like the best PvP unit. Neither is Bill Reiser. If I showed you the optimum PvP team right now, it would be this. I take her out, I take him out, and put John Connor in the middle and Quint. This is kind of like the pinnacle PvP team right now, for better or worse. I can even go so far to say if you're like not really interested in Quint, you can actually do this. When I say this, I mean the Lance Beans that I see in ranked PvP are awakened. That's the that's the lances I encountered since I play in the Supernova 1 to Supernova um to Ultimate Champion. You'll see Awaken Lance Bean, Iron Lance Bean with whale skin. So either or of these teams are kind of like really superior teams. Where is Quinn at? And I'll explain why. First of all, when you play rank 1 PvP, you play one guy, he dies, you play another guy, he dies, and then hopefully you can finish off with the third guy. John Connor sits in the first slot. The first slot for ranked PvP is a character that can either slow down the game or speed it up. Either you have a control unit or a DPS unit. And John Connor right now is the pinnacle of DPS. His DPS is so stupid, I kind of think it's not fair. Because first off, he has of course, the spears that deal major damage. Then he actually can use the spear, walk over it, and get another skill on top of the skill that he already has. His mobility and damage output is so insane that he's really top tier. On some level, I should actually really be practicing with him. But I am no good with John Connor. I actually play Blaine better. Blaine is a control unit. Her goal is to slow down and slowly pick the unit apart. These are two different strategies that are applicable to the first spot. Blaine is not the best attacker. She has a high DPS skill, but it's hard to land. Um, her main weapon is her little drones. Her little drones are to slow down the unit and slowly kill them. But in a matchup between her and John Connor typically wins. Sometimes I beat John Connor, but when I play John Connor against John Connor, I typically lose. But with Glenn, I just deal more damage. So that is the explanation of the first slot. So we'll put your boy John Connor back in. So the middle spot is your tank. This is the tank role. The reason Quint fills this role is not only can he deal high DPS, but when his HP gets low, he gets a little auto revive. He actually comes back with a little more HP, which allows him to tank more than the other units. The guy just doesn't die. And his stun is insane. That's why Quint fulfills the middle spot really well. The middle spot guy is kind of like the cleanup guy for the first one. If your first guy didn't do so great, You want the second guy to clean up and then take on the second guy and kill him. And Quint does a good job of that. I put Bill Riser in Metal Bill because I'm really good with him. The reason why Armored Bill is good in the third slot is because he can actually tank. Because when he puts his armor on, it absorbs damage for him as opposed to him taking damage for his direct HP pool, which is pretty insane. It's really a good skill. It's just his mobility's bad. And also he has high DPS output. If you look at his stat allocations, which I'll go to real quick. Let's get out of here. He has high survival and high damage. A little bit of control, not much. But when you see survival and damage, that means he can hit hard and take a hit. Which is kind of what you want for the middle slot, because that's the tanking position. This guy is supposed to survive because you don't want to crutch too much on your finisher, because if your finisher dies, you lose the match. So you actually want the middle guy to take enough damage to at least get you in a position where it's 1v1 between your finisher and the opponent's finisher. That's what his job is. Another guy for this spot, which I'll go in later on when I look at free-to-play options, is Bear. Another person that's good in this spot. I'll go into the free-to-play options because I think, Brownie's not free to play, so let me just put Brownie here. You actually got to pay for Brownie. Brownie's not free. Brownie is actually a decent middle guy. He's not the best, but if you're a dolphin or a light spender, Brownie fits the position okay. In fact, Brownie is a decent controller. Brownie's not the best unit, but if you're on a low budget and you need a middle spot, Brownie's Brownie Tower actually can absorb DPS. If the enemy has auto aim on their settings, they'll automatically attack the tower because its HP is gradually decreasing. And also the Brownie Tower actually throws out bombs that attack, and he can control range and slow down the battle, which is what you want the middle guy to do. So Brownie's actually a decent option if you're a light spender. This guy is actually solid because he doesn't take much. He doesn't take damage well, but his DPS has a range effect that actually makes people not want to get near him. If you're fighting Zeta, you don't want to get near the guy. You want to play out of his range, and that slows down the fight. So Zeta's actually decent. He's not as good as Quinn, and he's never gonna be. In fact, who else? Okay, this guy. This guy is actually an incredible tank unit. People who actually play in PvP understand the power of Bull. Bull is actually really good in 1v1. So I suggest if you play Bull and if you're on have lower spending, that you should just will Bull if you don't have the resources. This is why. Okay. Bull is usually in the deals. For some reason, Bull has consistently been. He is consistently purchasable. You can buy Bull if you started this game. You were able to buy Bull almost every week. Some people have put so much resources into Bull, they've awakened him and are near close to double awakening. So when you look at Bull, he is an option for well players because if you're conservative, you can farm your diamonds enough to buy at least 10 shards of Bull a week. So that's not a bad option. And Bull is actually good in 1v1. Bull is actually really good in 1v1 because certain weapons. If you have the grenade launcher weapon, let me go and show you the the weapon I'm talking about. Weapons gallery, because I don't have it. Let's go to cannon. Abyss grenade launcher. If you have Abyss grenade launcher with Bull, he actually is an incredible unit. Because Abyss grenade launcher fires far away, and Bull actually can tank from a distance. So in this third slot, I think Bull is actually solid. I think Bull is like one of the best like low end options for people who don't have enough money to whale on the game. You can whale on Bull consistently, and he will produce results. So let me see who else. Yeah, I think that's the best options for the tank position. Some people don't even use tank in second position. They use this as another DPS. Now, some wells just DPS. And they'll just use the setup that I showed you at the beginning. John Connor, Quint, and Terminator. Let's put Quint back here. Now let's talk about the last position, finishers. Finishers' job is just to clean up what's left over. They're high DPS units, but they have like skills that allow them to rapidly put DPS down. Excuse me. And what do I mean by that? Say for instance, Terminator. Terminator has stun and DPS options. Unlike, John Connor actually has stun, which is kind of unfair. He has stun too, but Terminator has like 2 stun options. So when you're looking at a finisher, the finisher should have decent stun, because Quint actually can sub finish. You can actually put Quint in the last spot to be a finisher. That's how good he is. First of all, they should have stun, and they should have a way to put down DPS. Like, even if you wanted to, you can actually use Awaken Lance Bean. I don't suggest that you use Lance Bean unless he's awakened, because he's so much stronger. And if you give him like his Witch Hunter skin, he actually is a really, really strong cleanup man. He really is. Another strong cleanup person is Vera. Vera's actually a strong cleanup person for the simple fact that she has stun and control. But her control does more DPS than regular people like Glane. In fact, that when a good setup for Vera is the Golden M8 for consistent firing, and Golden Crusher, or the Creator, or Abyss Grenade Launcher, or even Titan Incinerator, or Shadow Inferno Cannon. Because what you want to do with your finisher is you want to stun the opponent and you want to kill him. Simply put. You just want to get in and stun the opponent and kill him. So Vera is actually good for that. Terminator is good for that. Iron Lance is good for that. And another option is Code 18. Code 18 is actually a good finisher. She has low survivability, but she does have stun, and she does have high DPS output. So Code 18, if you have her, is a good finisher. You just need to practice with her more. She's not as easy to understand as Terminator is. So I would suggest that too. And Ray Palmer, and Ray Powered, is actually a good finisher. And if you want him to be, he's actually a good starting man. I think John Connor's the best one, but if you wanted to, Ray would do that. But I think Ray is better in the third spot. I think that's where he shines the most. And as far as tank goes, Adam actually is a solid tank, but I don't think he's as good as Quint, and I don't even think he's as good as Bull. So that's why I didn't mention him. I hate to say it, but I don't think he's as good as Bull, or I don't think he's as good as Quint. I don't think he's good as Armored Bill. I don't think so. So let's go to free-to-play options now. So let's just get these guys out of here. What if you only had B heroes? How would you set up a B hero team? First of all, you would put this guy as your starter. Why would I say Bill Riser? Because Bill Riser has good DPS options. He's not the best. He's a B character. He's not supposed to be. But he's solid. In fact, if you wanted to, you can actually put him in the third spot as well. But I think he performs better in the first spot. So you put him there. And who would be your second free-to-play option? It'd actually be Bear. I say Bear for last because you can actually get him if you play team Contra team battles. You can get him for free. And they offer his shards everywhere. So you can see that I have him at 2 stars awakened. Just as much as I have the other characters. In fact, my bear is more awakened than my Sheena, my Caitlyn, and my Pulse. So he is free to play. I never bought shards of Snow Bear. And I think Snow Bear is one of the best free to play options for young players, new players who are getting into the game who want to do PvP. If you're not spending money on rank 1 PvP, then you should have Snow Bear in the middle spot. Because if you're not spending money, you're not touching half of these characters. And let me see who else. Let's look at that third spot. Caitlyn would actually be good in the third spot to some extent. But I think she's better at first. But this is kind of be your free-to-play team. Why do I pick Lance Beam? Lance Beam has solid DPS output. With the right weapons, he will get the job done. And since this is free to play, I would change the weapons to TVC Gatling is good, and Burst Inferno Cannon. The reason for this is Lance Beam works with heavy firepower. If you want to use him, he needs heavy firepower in order to get the job done to maximize his skills. So this setup is perfect for Lance Beam if you're on a budget. If you don't have money, you can actually get these weapons over time by farming. And you get the awakening for free. You don't have to purchase the awakening. In fact, you don't have to purchase any of the awakenings. Alright. So that's your free-to-play options. Other characters that I will mention. So let me just change the weapons back. Let me put that there. And then put that there. Is Lucia. Lucia is actually a good character. She used to be dominant at the beginning. And if you would use her, you either put her last or first. But I think John Connor has taken away a lot from her. I think the presence of John Connor is so oppressive that you really can't use her in PvP. And I'm not the greatest John Connor player, but sometimes at half HP I can still kill Lucia easily. And I'm not even the best John Connor player. John Connor messed up the meta a lot. So I think she was really good, but Bull can actually dance around Connor better than she can. And Bull can survive, and with a Bisque grenade launcher, Bull can do more damage than her. So over time, Bull has actually taken her spot. I think Bull is better than Lucia Zero now. People will say no way, but they're wrong. They haven't seen players play with Bull. Another guy who lost some steam is Jubei. Jubei lost some steam because of John Connor. John Connor just does everything he wants to do, but better. In fact, Code 18 does everything he wants to do and better. So because of options like that, he kind of fell off. And you actually got to spend money for him. And if you're going to spend money, you might as well spend money on something better. But if you're like a Dolphin, I think he's a solid option for the first spot. If you're like putting $10 or $20 every month into the game, then he's solid. You don't have to put much resources into him. You just have to maintain your timing. Another free-to-play option is Fang. Fang is a solid free-to-play option, but it's hard to find a spot for him. Because Fang's doing like a couple of things. He's got some stun. He's got some close-range DPS. But it's just hard to fit him on a team. Because even though like when he does his technique, he gets a little shield. It's not as good as Snow Bear. Yeah, he's not as fast as well, he's faster than Bull because Bull's a bit clunky, but Bull's a better tank. So is Snow Bear. DPS wise, I think Bill Reiser and Lance Bean out DPS him, even though he's free. I just think they're better DPS than him. Even though his weapon does stun, I think there's just better controllers in the pool that you're dipping into. I mean, he's free, but I don't think he's any good. Danusha is actually good. Uh, Hire Danusha. She's actually good on some level, but you have to pump resources into her, and the game hasn't given you access to enough shards in order to awaken her. So until she's like awakened and usable, we won't know about her full potential. Same goes with Sheena. We won't know her full potential until she's like awakened. She has some taking potential and some DPS potential, but for right now, we just don't know how far she'll go. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna judge right now, but we'll see. She's all right, but she's not the best. Um, we'll mention her later. She's not good in this mode, but she's exceptional in another PvP mode. In 1v1, she's kind of trash because her skills don't work in this mode. She's not meant for this mode, but I just mention her to say, just to mention her. Riona is actually a solid option for control. It's just that she doesn't have like the survivability, I would say. In fact, she needs to. You need to practice with her more than you need to practice with other people. Like in order to maintain her hats and her overall stun, it takes a lot of practice. I think she's better in another mode, which we'll talk about later. Um, Aurora, she lost a lot of. She lost a lot. She used to be good, but now she's not good anymore. There's just faster units in the game right now. All the S units kind of cuck her and reduce her overall DPS potential. If she's going against someone like Lance Bean and Bill Reiser, the B character, she utterly slaughters them. She struggles against Snow Bear. She struggles against Bull. Um, and at times she'll struggle against Brad Fang and Jubel eat her lunch. She actually can get the drop on Lucia, but a lot of these characters you don't see in PvP anymore. Most of the characters you see consistently in PvP are S characters, so that's just hard on Aurora. Um, like I said, that goes for all of them really. Oh yeah, Hummingbird. Hummingbird is a good mention because Hummingbird is actually solid in PvP. Um, she's a finisher, and at times she can be like a starter, but I think she's better as a finisher because she has like solid DPS, and the DPS she uses is to close in on you and kill you, which is what you want to finish her to do. So she's a really good honorable mention for the finisher spot. But let's get out of here and talk about 2v2. And let me just put her, him, and him. All right. So 2v2, um, Conquer Battlefield is different because you have like another player. But the problem is you have to hold fort now. It's not about just about killing the other person. It's also holding the fort and controlling the fort, which we'll talk about in 3v3. 2v2 is not as popular as 3v3 and 1v1. Um, like you have to seize the fort, of course, and then you have these monsters that you can kill, and you can change your hero. So you have like an option to change your hero or keep your hero. So at times you're only playing one hero. So let me go into solo matching. Um, in this mode, it depends on who your other friendly is playing. Tanks are really good here. Finishers not so much. Like Terminator now has another role. as a DPS, because now you're not trying to finish the opponent off. You're trying to consistently kill him over and over, so that your tank or you're pretty much your tank can hold fort. Bill Risers is a good guy to hold fort. Who else is good? Bear's actually good. He holds fort. Who else? She's actually solid for holding fort because she actually uses her drones to push the opponent out of the fort or lock them in so they can't push into the fort. Quinn is still good as ever. Not only can this dude hold fort, he can actually pressure your opponent, so he's just like amazing. Aurora's good as DPS, but not as good as she used to be because they're just better DPS options right now. Zeta is actually solid in 2v2 because he can actually attack opponents in an area. So he's actually pretty solid. John Connor is like the man. He's one of the best DPS options in 2v2, 1v1, and 3v3. His power is unquestioned. He is just the strongest DPS in the game. So going into the future in 3v3, he's awesome there too. So no worries. Funny thing is, Lance no longer needs to be awakened to be good now. Lance is good now, unawakened. In 2v2 and 3v3, he does not need to be awakened to be good. So any Lance being is good. Any Lance being that you have is good in 2v2 and 3v3. He gets the job done. He's solid DPS. He has mobility. Really good unit for people who just started putting money into the game. Code 18 is solid, but not as great. She's not a finisher anymore. You're asking her to consistently kill people, but it gets kind of difficult when people start laying down DPS on her, and you have to manage your skills. It becomes a little more difficult because there's more than one opponent, but she's still good. Terminator, of course, is awesome. Vera is actually super good in 2v2 and 3v3. Better more so in 3v3. I think Glenn is actually better in 2v2 because when and Conquer Battlefield, you're not gonna stay in one place. One person is moving around trying to gather like killing monsters and killing bigger monsters in order to pump up your power. Because 2v2 is a mix of 3v3 and 1v1. So Vera's actually not as great as Glenn. In fact, she's not as good as Quint. Quint actually smokes her in 2v2. And honestly smokes her in 3v3 as well. And you'll be shocked by that. Rihanna's actually okay in 2v2. Not as good as she will be in 3v3. And that's always a concern, but she's alright. Brownie's alright. He's not as great as he could be anymore. He just doesn't have the options that other heroes have. Now Jean is starting to shine now. In 2v2, she's starting to shine because she can actually effectively help you hold fort. In fact, she's dangerous in the fact that if things get tight and people push into your fort or when you're controlling the fort, she actually can drop down her umbrella, hurt the people over time, and your Terminator, your Quint, your anybody can finish them off. So that's good. And her other skill can bounce off units and do damage. And she actually increases your DPS overall. That's the thing that makes Jean so good. She actually increases the attack of people around her. So we'll go and look at that. And you can actually see why Jean is so much better now. Alright. Where is it? Where is it? Looking for it. Alright. Flower Fragrance. When there's a friendly hero within 8-yard radius of Jean, weapon damage increase for both of them. This is the passive that makes her so good. With Flower Fragrance, Jean actually becomes like a solid option in team PvP. So when you go to Contra Battlefield, she's actually more useful now. And her usefulness will increase when we get to 3v3. So Sheena is alright. Not the greatest DPS option. Sometimes I wonder, like, if she'll even be good with her awakening. I'm not sure. But Danusia is a little better in 2v2 and 3v3 than she is in 1v1. Because her stun can assist other people and she can DPS longer distances. Because in 2v2, you're trying to kill stuff and she can do that effectively for a long range. So she can kill stuff and run back and start attacking people into the fort. So that makes her really good. Sunbay's actually better in 2v2 and 3v3 than he is in 1v1 now because he has help now. People can assist Sinbei, and that makes him a little more dangerous. If you're distracted and if you're not playing your best, Sinbei can like just rip you in half. So Sinbei is actually getting better now. He's getting better now. Thing is not getting better. He's pretty much the same guy that he was in 1v1. He's not getting stronger. He's not fast enough. His skills aren't as congruent. And I hate to say it, but him and Bull suffer in 2v2 and 3v3. They suffer a lot. They become kind of useless. I see people play Bull in 2v2 and 3v3, and they get mollywopped. Okay, Lucia is coming back now. In 2v2, Lucia is making a resurgence in usefulness. She's a good assist character because when you break down the function of 3v3, you're going to always have to have a support character in order for a balanced team. Unless you're a bunch of whales and you have like a bunch of powerful people and you can play 3 quints, yeah, you can do that, but most people can't. So Lucia is a great option for a well-constructed team. And she's really good in 2v2 because she can hold fort. She's not a tank, but she can support people from afar. And the machines actually will take damage for her because if you auto-lock, they'll auto-lock the machines before her. So that's always good. Like I said, Bull suffers. So, yeah, Bull suffers a lot when you get to 2v2 and 3v3. He's getting murdered because he's just too slow. Like in 1v1, like he can like hide and duck and throw a Abyss Launcher, but now he can't. I mean, he's good with a Abyss Launcher. Abyss Launcher does a lot of damage, but there's other guys on the field. And you close in and you kill Bull because he's just too slow to run away. So, if you're looking for a free-to-play 2v2 team, I actually put Snow Bear. And we'll talk about the other guys. Bill's actually good in 3v3 and 2v2. Better than he is in 1v1. Because he has help now. And from far away, Bill becomes lethal. When you use his grenade launcher combined with long-range weapons, he can actually move in and slowly kill the opponent. And if he has the high ground, he just drops his grenades. So he's really solid. But Poe sucks. Poe sucks in all modes. He sucks in 1v1. He sucks in 2v2. And he sucks in 3v3. He's actually just a terrible unit overall. In fact, the problem with him is that he just doesn't do enough DPS. They say his mobility is good, but that's just with one skill. And that skill doesn't do enough damage, and you don't have enough stun on it. Like, once you get Sinbei, you'll never use Pulse again. Once you get any of these higher tier characters, you won't look at Pulse again. That's how bad he is. His DPS is bad. overall, his stats are just terrible. Alright, so now we're seeing Caitlyn make a resurgence. In 2v2 and 3v3, she's actually a good support unit. I think out of the free-to-play options, she's the best, along with Bill Reiser and Lance Bean. Because she's freezing units now. In 1v1, she's only freezing one unit. In 2v2 and 3v3, she's affecting more units. And if you freeze a couple of units, then you're winning. Because John Connor and Terminator and other guys can come in. Sorry, dude. And they can finish up. She's not here to control be the hero of the battle. She's to support the hero. She's here to back up guys like John Connor and Terminator so they can win quickly. And once you do that, then it's over. So she's really good. Lance Bean is not actually as good as Caitlyn and Sheena in the support role. He's not here to support. He's actually good DPS. I've seen many people who actually have Awakened Lances play really well. Some people have the second awakening, which makes him like super awesome because once he's double awakened, his DPS goes to insane levels. So like his upper class version, if he's like double awakened as opposed to being singly awakened, he's really, really good. But you have to put in the resources in the Lance Bean to get there. But he's an excellent option. And last but not least, we'll talk about Sheena. Sheena's actually better in 2v2 and 3v3 than she'll ever be in 1v1. Because she's supporting other people and her stun is really good. People like John Connor and Lucia Zero and other DPSs can feed off that and quickly end the game. So I think she's better in that mode. And last but not least, we'll talk about Fort Battle. Fort Battle is all about team construction and on another level, well power. If you can outwill the opponent, then well, you've won. I hate to say that, but you'll see like a team of 3 whales go in and just mollywop people for like 10 games straight. But when we're looking at superior team construction, you're looking at a DPS, a tank, and a support. So you're looking at someone like John Connor as the DPS.
This is John Connor. If you are listening to this, you are the resistance.
A tank like Quint and Bill. Like John Connor, Terminator, Lance Bean, Code 18, Aurora, Simbe, and Lance are good DPSs. In a team composition, the role of a DPS is to simply kill the units as they come. These guys must provide consistent damage output. Your DPSs are usually the stronger person on the team who can consistently attack and kill units. Those units are actually perfect for the role of the DPS. I will say that John Connor, Terminator, Lance, Iron Lance, Code 18, Vera, and Aurora are actually the best of the DPSs. Zeta actually is good, but not as great. Danusia is good, but not as great. Simbe and Sheena, not as great. Just not as great. So the tank is, your tank in 3v3 is simply to hold fort. You don't have to kill monsters or get power-ups or anything. This is a 3-on-3 battle. Your bull can hold fort. Bill is really good at holding fort. Quint can hold fort. Quint can do DPS as well. He can do all 3 actually. He can actually support because he's such a busted unit. Because he has stun, he's got HP recovery, and he's got mobility. So I mean, he can do it all really. I just put him in the tank position because there's so many DPSs in the game that even though he can do all three, I think he's better at tanking. I think he's better at tanking hits because he dishes out as good as he gets. So it's hard to push Quint out of the middle. It's hard to fight three Quints, which I often do. I fight three people playing Quint, or I fight two people playing Quint in 3v3. That's just the way it goes. He defines the meta right now. Quint and Connor and Terminator kind of define the meta as it is right now. Another noteworthy tank is in fact is Adam. I think Adam is like a noteworthy tank. He's not good in 1v1. Not that great in 2v2, but I think he's good in 3v3. I think Hummingbird is actually good in 3v3 as well. I forgot to mention Ray Power. He's actually a really great DPS. He's better in 3v3 than he is in 1v1, honestly. Because now Ray Power's clone is actually attacking more than one opponent, which increases his DPS options greatly. I think Alice herself is actually good in 3v3 and 1v1 if she got her skin on, her C skin on. So forgot to mention those, but I think they're good in 3v3. Brownie is actually a support. Thing kind of sucks. So does Bull. They kind of suck. I mean, there's not that many great tanks right now. I mean, save for Snow Bear, Bill, and Queen. I don't think there's that many great tanks. Not for 3v3 because Bull is just too slow. He just can't keep up. Adam's actually a solid tank, but there's not that many tanks. About 4 good ones. So we go to supports. Vera is a really great support. I think she's the best support right now. Unfortunately, Vera's kind of broken in 3v3, especially when she's awakened, which people have awakened Vera. And as she's awakened and she has her epic skin, she's a real pain. In fact, she's actually brutal in 3v3. She actually can like stun everybody and just slow down the fight so that people like John Connor, Quint, and Lance and other people just clean up. So she's really awful. But thank goodness most people don't put that much resources into Vera, but some people have, and they're being rewarded for it because she's really good in 3v3. Blaine is good in 3v3 because she's a controller. She's actually here to support the team. She throws out her drones, and she sits back and she waits, and when there's 3 people in the middle, she blasts them with her beam. And that's really awesome. So she's actually a solid option in 3v3. Zeta's good, but not as good as this chick. She's actually really, really good in 3v3. Extremely effective. If you have the right team, she's like one of the best units in 3v3 right now. Because of her stun and her hats, because the hats do something like this. She throws out her hat. You're trying to attack her, but you end up attacking the hat. That's the first trick. The second trick is when she throws out her stun. 2 people get caught in the net. 1 person gets caught in the net, and then your allies finish them off. I use her in King of the Hill now because my team is so much stronger than me, and so playing the support role she's really good for that. Jean is one of the best 3v3 units in the game because she is supporting everyone. She controls the middle and she buffs her team. Because once she goes down her umbrella and makes her area damage effect, people are getting damaged now. On top of that, people are actually getting a buff from her attack. So she's doing a lot in 3v3. Even her weaker skill, when in the middle, in the center of the battlefield, is hitting more than one target, and you're getting effects that you wouldn't otherwise get off of them. So she's one of the best 3v3 units right now in the game. And you'll see really good players use her. Sheena's actually, yeah, she's actually solid in 3v3 because of her shields and stuff. And she can, like, for some reason, when she makes the explosion, I can't, it kind of blurs the screen for a minute and then you're distracted. So she's really good. Danusha's actually good because she's providing support for the team. She's stunning people. She's attacking from long range. She's actually a really good support in 3v3. Better in 3v3 than she is in 2v2, which is kind of weird. Kind of weird that she would actually improve in that matter. Lucia is really good as a support in 3v3. I think she's one of the best still. When you awaken her, she's really lethal. Some people are close to awaken her, but people already have her epic skin, which allows her to do more damage and her drones to do more damage. So she's really good. Like I said, Bill is actually solid in 3v3, but he needs strong weapons in order to do his job now. Bill's performance, like other B characters, largely depend on how much resources you dump into your weapons. He's solid, but he goes a long way with better weapons. So does Caitlyn. She goes a long way with better weapons, and so does Sheena. And yeah, I said that he's a good DPS. Yeah, so this is basically the sum of what it takes in order to construct a team in 1v1, 2v2, and 3v3. There's a lot of options, but characters will stand out above others. But I will say in 3v3 you have more options. It's kind of crappy that the whales gather together and beat you up, but it is what it is. There's some matches where whales don't play and it's really fun. So if you like my content, like, share, subscribe button. I'll get back to you. Have a great day and laters.